So, do you guys have a couple of news feeds in your cell phone? And do you share news with snarky comments? And do you usually believe those bald letters? And how about, do you trial people or absolve people based on news? Oh, come on, we've all have done it, right? So welcome to Light Screening, the channel for movie lovers more than movie savvies. My name is Gisela Cruz and we are going to be talking about Clint Eastwood's latest film called Richard Jewell. So Richard Jewell is this overzealous security guard who was working at the Atlanta Olympic Games in 1996, and he saved thousands of lives from a dirty bomb. He became a hero in an instant, and after a day or two, he became the main suspect of the investigation of the FBI, and he was trialed by the media, and he became the guilty guy, okay, of this investigation. He was trialed publicly, he was prosecuted publicly, his life became a mess because the media decided to focus on him as the main suspect, because the FBI also focused on him as the main suspect. So Richard Jewell is played by Paul Walter Hauser. Let me say, brilliantly played by Paul Walter Hauser, although he was snubbed for the main awards and for the main nominations. He did get he did get some attention from the Hollywood Critics Association, from the Detroit Film Critics, and the National Board of Review as a breakthrough performance, but that was it. I mean, this cast is a brilliant, fabulous cast. It's got Sam Rockwell, Oscar winner Sam Rockwell, playing the lawyer. It's got Kathy Bates, Oscar winner Kathy Bates, playing the mom. It's got Olivia Wilde from House, 13 from House. She's very familiar to me. I used to watch her as 13, playing the journalist, and Jon Hamm from Mad Men, playing the FBI main investigator. Kathy Bates is the exception to the snubbing. She got nominated for the Golden Globe and for the Oscar as the Best Actress in a supporting role, and she did win the Golden Globe. So I don't think, and let me say that right now, I don't think she won the Golden Globe and got these nominations because of this performance. Not that it's a bad performance, but it's not such a complex character. Not such a complex character that would win her a Golden Globe. I think it was about her career, and she does deserve the accolades, so kudos to her. Anyway, this is a Clint Eastwood movie, so what does that mean? That means it's a slow burner. It's a movie that you don't see the structure. The structure is not in your face. It's a movie where the characters are really interesting. It's a movie where you get to know these characters in depth. It feels like not much is happening, or it's happening slowly, and all of a sudden you are just completely within the story and within these characters' feelings, and you're feeling what they're feeling, and you're living what they're living. So I am a fan of Clint Eastwood. This is another good movie by Clint Eastwood. Not the best movie by Clint Eastwood. I totally understand why the main awards kind of snubbed it. Not the best, but still true to him. He chooses interesting characters. He chooses interesting human beings to portray. He chooses good casts. He chooses... The dialogues are great. There is a scene between Richard Jewell and his lawyer, where the lawyer is a really interesting character as well. He's a little fiery, he's a little aggressive, he's a little not fit for the role of lawyer, not the traditional kind of lawyer that we are used to see. So he's down on his luck, but he becomes Richard Jewell's lawyer, and he's telling him to fight back because they're opposites, and he's telling him to fight back and to have a little blood on his veins and to push back and to be a little angry, you know. And Richard Jewell says, that's not the kind of human being I am, and I hope to God that this doesn't turn me into something I'm not. So this is the base of this movie. This is the the baseline of this movie. A guy that is trialed on the media, and that he's the perfect mark. I mean, he's the perfect mark for the FBI, and he's the perfect mark for the media, because he's a good, decent, a little fat, a little goofy, and so he's it's easy to destroy him, or at least they think it is, but he's not dumb. He's just a good human being, and so he's not guilty. He's just a good human being, and that's what the movie is about. Obviously, the movie comes to light because this is a public trial. This is a media trial. I failed, however, to see in the movie, I don't know what happened in real life. I remember the bombing, but I don't remember much more. I'm not even American. The news that came across the pond was that there was an explosion and that there was a suspect. That's it. But if I remember correctly, it did come across as the guilty one, period. And that cannot happen. But I have to say, though, that the newspaper had the right to publish that story, okay? The journalist had the right to go chasing that story, because if he is the main character, that is the truth. And if that is the truth, that goes on bold letters, okay? That's not where the mistake is done. The mistake is done when you stop chasing the truth and you start chasing sales. And I am not naive. Back in the day when I was a reporter, the truth was it was about the truth. That's what I learned. That's what I chased. But it was also about the sales, and it just got worse. So that's why this movie is made now. There are a lot of media trials. We just take for granted what we hear on the news. But I also have to say something. In this movie, the biggest mistake was the FBI investigation, okay? Thank God that now I think that the rules are a little bit clearer. People can't chase, people can't prosecute, people can't badger and bully a witness like that, or they can't bully a suspect like that. And thank God, I think that has changed a bit, because that cannot happen. I mean, the newspaper had the right to publish that story. They just didn't have the right to milk it until they destroyed someone's life. But that is also not clear in the movie. I'm not sure what the rest of the news was besides the fact that he was a suspect, okay? That is not clear in the movie, or at least it wasn't clear to me, who was a reporter. I also have to say, and this is a personal note, that the professions, the jobs that gave people the ability to think about it, the teachers, the journalists, they got discredited, okay? I'm not saying that it's not their own fault as well, but they got militantly discredited, and that is painful to me, okay? That my profession, because that's what I was at the age of 21, got so discredited, because honestly, what I've learned and what I've tried to do was actually chase the truth and give people the means to think for themselves, and that is no longer the case. I'm not saying that it's not their own fault, but there was also something that was deliberate, if you will. So just think about it, okay? Obviously, what is there to discuss? The public trials, the fact that we take for granted what we watch in the news, the fact that we want to feel smart because these days we all have a platform, and so we just forward and we say this guy is guilty as hell, and we don't think about it. The movie portrays the result of that back in the day, but the discussion is the same, and now it's even more serious, okay? Another curiosity is that obviously the Atlanta Journal, Clint Eastwood and the studio have a lawsuit that the Atlanta Journal brought up, because they say that the journalist is a career journalist. She did the best that she could. She had the right to do it, and she didn't get the information the way they say that she got the information. So they have to answer for the trashing of her image and of the Atlanta Journal image. So that is also fair. They have the right to do that. And so this is what I have to say about this movie. And there is a lot more to discuss, but you can figure out yourselves with these little notes. I don't think it's the best movie that Clint Eastwood ever did, but I do think it is a good movie and it's worth watching. And the actors are absolutely fabulous. And I know that I say this a lot of times, but they are. They are fabulous. I mean, this is a Clint Eastwood movie. This is a Hollywood movie. This is everything is good in it. So, this again, what I miss in the script is the fact that I would have liked to understand better where the newspaper actually chased him and what was from the investigation, if you will, because if the fact that the journal, the newspaper did say that he was a suspect, that is the truth. Okay, so where the follow-up was, what it wasn't so clear. They did a profile and they pushed it and they sold that news, and but where exactly did they cross the line? Because it wasn't clear for me. But maybe it's clear for everyone else. Maybe it's also easy to think it's clear and to come out of the movie and to say I got it. The newspapers are trash and he's innocent and they are the bad guys. Yeah, the characters of Olivia Wilde and Jon Hamm are the bad guys portrayed here. Obviously, if the FBI pursued this investigation the way that it's portrayed here, it's very serious. I think it's even more serious than the newspaper. Obviously, if the newspaper chased the story because of the sales and not the truth, it is wrong. They deserve to be accountable as well. I'm not sure they did. You know, you tell me what you think. Am I taking the side of the newspaper? I'm not. I think that that there is a limit to it. I think that the actual story worthwhile after the fact is the fact that the FBI screwed up that investigation, and hopefully that can't happen without being prosecuted as well these days. But what do I know? Tell me what you think. Tell me what did you feel about this character? What was worthy for you to discuss, and let me know. I would like to know. It's just unfortunate that somebody's life got destroyed like that. It's just unfortunate. Obviously, you look at the guy that found the bomb as you look at the parents when a kid is missing, and the newspaper can print that, and it's terrible and always tears people apart, and it's awful to see your life exposed and to see your name being trashed. But it is the right, if the investigation goes there, it is their right to actually look into that suspect as well. Anyway, again, there is a fine line between the search for truth and the search for sales. Anyway, moving on. A blast from the past. I'm not going to say much about this movie because this is a classic. This is what everybody has said everything about this movie. I watched this week. I couldn't not mention it. It's a character that got to the public eye back in the day. Fictional character, I believe. Not sure though. That got into the public eye for different reasons. It had also a very public life because it rose quickly in the crime in the underground of Miami. It's Scarface. It's by Brian De Palma, 1983. It's got Michelle Pfeiffer and obviously Robert De Niro. We all heard and seen pieces of this movie throughout our whole lives, and I obviously not our whole lives because it's from 1983, but anyway, I obviously recommend it, and it's a great movie to watch, and Robert De Niro is amazing, and the basis of the story is amazing, and I obviously recommend it. So tell me what you thought about both movies. Say something. Tell me what you thought was clear and what you think is right and what you think it's wrong and what you think it's current and what you think it's worth discussing. And thank you for watching, and go to the movies.